The moment you've all been waiting for. You what?
Well, that hit the spot.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Gosscast with myself, Alexandra and Kendra Becker, Goss.ie editor. I'm so excited for this episode because we're going to chat about the big stories this week, but we're also going deep into Friends and the Friends reunion.
So exciting.
So exciting. I watched the promo, the girls put it up last night on Instagram, and I honestly, there were tears poured down.
No, like the minute it started, it just showed like the apartment building, and I was like,
it's not ready.
Oh,
and also, I have a special Friends mug for this, special Zoom. I bought this ages ago, but this is actually you're meant to put a frame in here. There's a little frame you can put a photo in. But sorry, what size photo fits into that?
Probably one of the Instax ones, the little mini ones.
Well, maybe the mini ones actually.
Even if you maybe cut it.
Yeah. But before we get into Friends, I feel like there was actually a lot of news this week. First of all, there's two shocking stories that I want to start with. But the first one, Ariana Grande is a married woman.
Yeah, so this only broke on Tuesday? Oh no, it was Monday. And TMZ reported it first, and initially I was like, and then her rep confirmed it almost straight away. So she is married. She's married to Dalton Gomez. He's not really a celebrity at all. He's actually a real estate agent, which is random. But he's not Sherry Fitzgerald level of real estate. He's like big shot fucking properties in LA that he sells. But yeah, they've only been dating since last February, which is
this has to be one of the first lockdown romances that have turned into a marriage. It's literally a lockdown romance, isn't it? Technically.
Kind of, yeah. I think they did start dating before the pandemic happened. Yeah. But they obviously, I think sources were saying that they got really close during the pandemic, blah, blah. But yeah, they got married. There was less than 20 people at their wedding. They got married at her home in Montecito, which is where Meghan and Harry live in California, and Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres. It's a big.
Were they there?
Celeb land. Maybe they were there.
And was the 20 at the ceremony because they wanted it intimate or because of COVID restrictions? Do we know?
I think it's just because they wanted it intimate. I don't know if they really planned it. I think they were just like, fuck it, let's get married. But they had only got engaged in December. So yeah, it's kind of just classic Ariana, she kind of does these things. We remember her engagement to Pete Davidson back in 2018, which was iconic, to be honest.
Davidson. You know what, when I saw just some of the photos of her and Dalton, sometimes he kind of looks like Pete. Kind of, yeah. Isn't Dalton well known within celeb circles? He's mates with Justin Bieber or something, is he? He's mates with someone.
Yeah. So I think he has made a lot of celebrity connections because he's a really big real estate agent over there. He obviously, they should get him on Selling Sunset.
I know. I'm can there be a crossover with Dalton and Ariana? Yeah. I kind of like that she's married to somebody who's aware of the industry, knows her mates, knows the circles, is wealthy in his own right, but isn't chasing fame. Because I just think I know her and Pete were obsessed with each other, but when it all ended, and the fact that he kept putting her in his comedy sketches, and now everyone he looks at, it's in a newspaper, it's in a magazine, he's always going to be Ariana's ex. And I just think it's not nice for her. How many times we said this about the Kardashians? Why don't they date someone who's not normal? Somebody who works maybe in the industry but isn't a basketball player, isn't a rapper. I have good vibes about this. I know it's fast, but I feel she's chosen a good person.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's nice to see her kind of settling down, and obviously she seems so happy because obviously she's had a lot of fucking turmoil in her life over the past few years, obviously the whole Manchester Arena situation, then she had that whole whirlwind romance with Pete, then Mac Miller died, her ex. There's just so much that's happened in her life. So I feel she's finally slowing down. She was probably let's just get married. Let's have less than 20 people at it. It doesn't matter.
When you think of the stuff that she has dealt with, like sometimes I randomly think about how she deals with the Manchester terrorist attack. Like sometimes I actually just lay awake at night and I'm like, how does she still deal with this? Like she must think about it constantly. Like all the people who lost their lives, the parents, like the fact that she went to the hospital. Like I think we forget that like she went through such a traumatic thing. And then to find Pete and think that's true love, and then for Mac to die, like I'd say she was just like, what is going on? And I thought it was actually really weird that she continued with her world tour. I was really skeptical of that at the time. I know Scooter Braun was like meant to be so cool and chill and like helping her out, but you remember there was videos of her like crying in the middle of Thank You Next and everything. And I just think maybe this pandemic has been a good thing for her because she's had to stop. She's had to stop touring, traveling over the world. She's literally just been at home. She seems to be like much better for it.
Yeah, I think we actually said this on the podcast before, that we felt that she was probably just kind of getting on with things, but she was probably not really dealing with things properly because, like you said, she was on a tour straight away and she seemed like she was really struggling. You could see it. There was these videos being put up her on social media of her crying, blah blah. So like, yeah, I think the pandemic probably just taught her to just stop,
yeah,
and just enjoy her actual life, and yeah, things are less chaotic.
I can't wait for the song that's called Stop, and you'll be like, she literally stole my idea.
She stole it.
Another thing that happened this week that was a surprise, Naomi Campbell is now a mother. Like no one even knew she was expecting a child.
I know. So yeah, the actual details about like how the baby was born have not been revealed. But yeah, she just surprise announced it yesterday. She put up a picture of newborn baby's feet like in her hands, and was just like, I'm so proud to announce that I'm a mother, blah blah. So she's 50. Yeah. And like the past few years she has like said that she'd love to have kids, like she really wants to be a mother, blah blah, but she was kind of like, you know, I'm taking my time with it. And I think she said in an interview like 2 or 3 years ago that like the way modern medicine or modern science is at the moment, she was like, I can become a mother whenever I want.
I love how ballsy Naomi Campbell is about everything. She's like, yeah, what? So like it's fine. Like I've sorted it, it's grand.
Yeah.
I love her attitude. And yeah, I saw that people were saying that she's wearing like a hospital bracelet in the picture. So people are saying that maybe she gave birth herself, but you wouldn't know. That could be a visitor's bracelet as well. I feel like we'll never know. I feel like she's never going to say. She seems to be that type where she'll just not tell anyone anything.
Yeah, she's very private, but yeah, like it's hard to know because like she's not even currently linked to anyone. Like remember a while ago she was linked to Skepta, which is so random.
Skepta, Liam Payne.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Payne was not after Cheryl.
Yeah, like what is this thing about Liam Payne?
I don't.
Cheryl, Naomi Campbell, like
I get Harry. Now I didn't always get Harry. I absolutely like get Harry.
You get it.
Get it. But Liam,
like no. What is that? Like he must have lots of energy. That's just like,
I'd go for Niall next to Harry. I think Harry is number one, and then bit Irishman. Bit of an Irishman there. Like I feel like he'd serenade you afterwards as well. You know. I think Liam would be like, what, Moss fucking tour. Do you remember like when Bear was born, literally 7 seconds later, he was like, cool, I'm dropping an album and I'm going to leave you for 6 months and tour the world.
Yeah. So also, can we talk about how he performed at the BAFTAs recently? It was so random.
Oh, what did he perform? I didn't see him.
God, I can't even remember.
Do you remember after they broke up as well, he performed a Rita Ora at some awards? Maybe it was the Brits or something, and it was so hot and heavy, and I was like, how dare you?
How very dare you?
At home with baby Bear. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I wonder will Naomi ever even share her child? She's just the most random person sometimes. Actually, were you there the time we interviewed her?
No.
So 1 year, she did a collaboration with New Rich Silverware.
Oh, and maybe I was there.
I thought you were there.
No, I was, yeah.
In true Naomi Campbell style. There's only 2 celebrities in my life I've had to wait for. And I mean wait for. Like as in, We were in the Marion Hotel for what was it, 2 hours before she came in? But it's like we almost were happy to wait because it was like, well, it's Naomi Campbell.
She's
So,
just such an icon.
of course, she's going to be late. The other late person, I don't think you're at this one, was Robbie Williams. Were you at that?
Oh, I was there. Oh my God, that was the best thing
So
ever.
I actually love him. This is going to sound like a big
love him.
Love Robbie Williams. And we got to ask him a question. It was all fine. But you remember he kept us waiting equally for 2 hours. And then when we came in, everyone was like, oh yeah, cool. And he was like, no round of applause. And I was like, we've been fucking waiting here for 2 hours. Why?
I remember that we were waiting so long
in the Four Seasons Hotel. They're always.
But you forgive him. It's Robbie Williams. Like, sorry, one of my life goals is to see Robbie in concert. I fucking need to see it.
Let me in.
I am like that person at a house party that puts on Robbie Williams. Like,
oh, are you?
Yeah.
And he was nice that day. And do you know what annoys me though? It's always when you're in hotels, they're delayed. So like the Marion Four Seasons, they're upstairs. Like they're having champagne.
Yeah, they're having a cup of tea.
Like no problem, we'll leave them. And we're just sitting there being like,
hello.
Like, sorry, nah, it is weird. But they're the longest 2 people I waited for. But I feel like with Naomi, she probably wasn't even late. She just was like, I'm Naomi Campbell, gonna take 2 hours.
Yeah.
It is.
It's allowed. She's
allowed. But yeah, best of luck to her. Dying to hear the name, dying to see a picture at some point. But we have to move on to the topic of the day, the topic of the year, the topic of the decade. Friends reunion. Now, I was a bit iffy about this, right, until I saw the trailer, because I thought it was weird. Like when it was first announced, it was so hyped up. Everyone was like, oh my God, Friends reunion, they're all coming back. Then details started getting released. Number one, it's not scripted. Everyone was like, okay, that's a bit weird. Then secondly, they're not going to be in character. And I was like, what? Then thirdly, the news that seems to have annoyed more people than anything else, James Corden is hosting it. Why is everyone so angry about that?
People are very enraged by this. And I don't I get a lot of people don't really like him.
Why though?
No, I think he fits it so well.
Why don't people like him though? When has this all happened? I'm like, I thought people were obsessed with James Corden.
No, I think it's only really in the past few years that people have been like,
no. I think he's a good fit because he's in the entertainment business. Like he's been in movies. He is actually really, really funny, and I'd say he's a true Friends stan.
Yeah,
yeah, maybe it's because it's an American institution almost. Maybe people wanted like a US host.
But like, yeah, the only other person I see that would have fit was maybe Jimmy Fallon.
I was thinking Jimmy Fallon.
He would have been good. But like, I like James Corden. I think he's funny.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be funny. So then I saw the trailer and I was like, magnifique. I was like, this is it.
Like a single tear.
Single tear. Because they had said, they were kind of hinting that they were going to all do something and read something. I was like, what's that? But now I'm like, it's obviously the quiz. So obviously that very famous episode where Monica and Rachel lose the apartment, they're recreating that, but they're basing it on stuff that happened in the show. So I'm so excited.
That's definitely one of the most iconic episodes, I think. So I'm so glad they're doing that.
Yeah, so Kendra and I said we would talk through like some of our faves. So wait, I wrote some of them down. So what is my favorite one? Of my favorite one. Okay, so this is probably one of the best episodes I think of all time. The episode called The One Where Everybody Finds Out, and that's when Monica and Chandler's romance is finally revealed to everybody, including Ross. And it's just the whole episode, you're constantly like, what's gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? And then you look through the window and Ross is like, everything's super shock. And also like everyone, and it's just so that whole season is probably my favorite, the lead up to Monica and Chandler, because I feel like when they first got together, it was kind of just funny. It was like, oh, this is so random, like they're just sleeping together. And then you realize in the episode where Phoebe pretends that she's like mad about him and she's like pretending that she wants to ride him, you know that episode?
Yeah.
And he tells them that he's in love with her, and then you're like, oh my God, this is serious. But the way it just gets revealed in the end is so funny. And I think in the read-through, they do a read-through of one of the episodes, and you can see the scene where Phoebe sees them for the first time, and she's like, my eyes. She's like,
Chandler and Monica.
Oh, like Oh my God, they are just like one of my favorite all-time couples. I know that everyone's gonna say Rachel and Ross and Rachel, but I don't know. I actually love Monica and Chandler.
Yeah, no, they're like, yeah, no, I think so as well. I think I kind of prefer them.
I really love them. And like even the proposal episode, I cry every time. I still cry at that episode when Chandler walks in and the whole room is with candles. And one of the things I always loved about Friends, like it's an actual sitcom, like there was an audience there. Like imagine what that was like. Like, and even for the actors to be feeding off, because you'd always hear the kind of oh from the audience, like they wouldn't know what's gonna happen. Like they've no idea like what's gonna go on in the scene. And then suddenly you walk in and there's a proposal. Like I'd say it was so good. Like I wish.
No, like, and a part of that episode as well, the one where they all find out, one of the most iconic lines is, "They don't know that we know that they know."
And then Joey's like, what? Do they know that we know that you know that we know? He's like, what the fuck? All of those episodes were just so good. And also, like, obviously, because Monica had split from Richard, like, that was kind of an iconic coupling as well. I did really like them together. And she was so sad. And then he'd been with Janice. There's just so many iconic moments that led up to Monica and Chandler getting together. And it's still my favorite season, I think, ever. And you know the episode as well when Joey finds out because she's like, has anyone seen my eyelash curler? And everyone's like, that's what I loved about that season. Like you would just every episode you're like, oh my God, is someone gonna find out? Like for such a comical show that isn't dramatic, they did have their fair share of dramatic storylines. Like that was dramatic.
Oh my God, there was so many. Like it's like one of the standout ones for me is when Ross gets married to Emily over in England.
Oh my God.
And he calls her Rachel at the altar. Like that is an iconic episode because that was the start of Chandler and Monica as well. Remember, they got together for the first time.
That may be then the most iconic episode of all time.
Yeah.
Because that is so true. I actually loved the Emily storyline because sometimes I feel like in shows where they bring in a character from another country or they go to another country, it just doesn't work. This really worked. And like when you look back at the episode, there's so many random people in it. Like Fergie is in it, Richard Branson is in it. There's loads of random people that featured it. But like at the time, Friends was so huge.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure they had to literally cordon off areas in London to even shoot some of the scenes. And then the actress that played Emily, she had just been in Cold Feet, and Cold Feet had been huge. Like it was just such a huge season. I wonder how they kept it a secret at the time that like Monica and Chandler were going to get together, because like that was one of the biggest shockers.
Yeah, because wasn't it in like season 5 or something? Like it was kind of the middle of the show when it all kind of happened. Yeah, I don't know how they actually kept that under wraps.
The only thing that had happened before that was, you know, that episode where Chandler ended up peeing on Monica because of the
She got stung by jellyfish.
Like there's so much I learned from watching Friends. Number one being urine will help you if you are stung by a jellyfish. Like things I didn't need to know. But then obviously alongside Monica and Chandler is Ross and Rachel, like probably the most famous couple in TV history. Are they, like, in terms of?
Oh yeah, completely. Like we were on a break. I think everyone knows that line and like pins it to the show.
Wait, let me ask you, do you think they were on a break?
Like no, and yeah, I don't know. How can you answer that?
I think you need to put yourself in Rachel's position and say, if you had a fight with your boyfriend and you're like, we need to take a break, and then that night he slept with somebody, would you be like, well, fair, I said we were on a break? Or
Yeah, no, when you put it like that, absolutely not. Like,
absolutely fucking not. Well, that episode makes me feel sick as well, you know, when like he opens the door and the girl is still in the apartment and Rachel's talking to him and she's just there behind the door, and I'm like, no. But it was such a good episode because remember it was like, oh, you need to figure out the connection, and he like figures out that like the copy girl in the local shop is like living with Phoebe's assistant that works in the masseuse parlor. Like he figures it all out, and then in the end Gunther is the one that tells Rachel that he cheated on her. Like Gunther. Gunther actually, just as a sidetrack, there's so many articles about him, the actor, because he was brought in as like a once-off character, but just randomly got thrown into the storyline of being obsessed with Rachel. And he's like,
and he was in the entire show.
In the entire show, he became such an iconic character in the end. But that whole episode, where they fight it all out, oh, it's just so sad. And Monica and Chandler and Joey and Phoebe, they're all listening in from the bedroom door and they're eating the wax. That scene, all they have to eat is the wax. But that whole episode is just so sad. They're fighting back and forth, and then Ross says something like, "This can't be it," and she's like, well, then why is it? I was like, no, it's so sad. And then
I think that's what makes it such a unique show. And I think why, because like, when did it end? 2004 or something.
Yeah.
And like, it's still being played. There's still such an appetite for it. Pennies are still fucking selling Friends merch. You know what I mean? And it's still like, to this day, people just love it so much. I think it's because like, when you watch it, you could either laugh or cry. It's just, it's such an all-round perfect show.
Love the characters as well, and you feel like, because there are episodes where literally nothing happens, but you just like love what they're doing, you're into their life. Like, there's just so many classic moments in it, and I feel like everyone has their own character that they love, and everyone who's yours actually? Do you have one?
A favorite?
Yeah,
I think it's actually so hard because I love them all so much for like different reasons. Like, I think I'd have to say maybe Rachel.
Oh,
but I do love Chandler as well, just because like the lines he comes out with are just so funny. When I was going through like my favorite episodes, and it's so weird because I never would have thought that Ross would have been one of my favorite characters, but he's in like pretty much all of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I actually was going to say, I think Ross is my favorite character. He's kind of like the Phil in Modern Family of Friends, and Phil is my favorite character in Modern Family too. He's just so self-deprecating. Like, the episode where Rachel's trying to tell Ross that she's with Joey now, and he's like unpacking his bag, and he's like, "Oh my god, the shampoo's all exploded." And she's like, "Oh," but I come back, and he's like, "No, it's fine." And then he's like, "Oh my god, no, it's everywhere." And he's like, "Why? Why do bad things happen to good people?" Like, I say that all the time.
All the time.
Like, there's so many one-liners from it that I literally still say to this day. I just love those scenes with the two of them. They work really well together. Like, even that scene after they have Emma, and remember, Emma gets locked inside the apartment, and she's like, "Oh my god, what if the window's open and the stove is on?" And he's like, "Oh god, I can hear a bird now landing on the stove, setting the crib on fire." Like, they're just together. They just were so good. Anytime he dated anyone else, I never liked them. And anytime she dated anyone else, I never liked them either. Like, Mona was so annoying. Then he was with that college girl, really hated her. And then,
oh god, what was her name? God, I can't even remember.
When Rachel was with Joshua, I was like, oh, fuck off. There was just a few characters I was like, no. The only one I thought that she might end up with was the guy from Ralph Lauren.
Mark, wasn't it?
No, that's the other guy. He was early days. I'm talking late days. He's the guy from My Best Friend's Wedding, that actor. Gavin. His name is Gavin in it. He comes onto the scene later, and I thought maybe there was something there. But I think every time they nearly found love, they would always have this thing between each other. And that's why, like, obviously in the very last series, when she's moving to Paris, that episode where he's like, "Did she get off the plane? Did she get off the plane?" And she's like, "I got off the plane." Like, there's just so many.
That's the very last episode.
Yeah. Oh, that was so emotional. But I remember when it actually streamed live, again, you were probably 3. But I remember that final episode really well. There was an ad break, so you actually didn't know if she got off the plane.
Oh my god.
No. Came back, and it was like, boom, I got off the plane. It was just like, oh my god. That was such an iconic moment. The two of them just getting back together and finally making it work. I think that's why I was a little bit sad that the reunion isn't an actual reunion, as in, well, it would have been so cool to see the characters like now. But then now that I've seen the trailer, I'm ready. But I kind of initially was like, I'd love to see them years on and see like what they're doing, like their actual characters. Do you know who I also loved as a couple as well? Phoebe and Mike.
Loved them. That was Paul Rudd, wasn't it?
All road. And
Loved
for
him.
the earlier episodes, David, oh my God, Phoebe and David, played by Hank Azaria. He literally plays every character in The Simpsons. He is just so funny. And every time he came onto the show, I absolutely loved him. Like, you know, even when he finds out that she's with Mike and that Mike and him kind of have a little fight. Where is it that he was always going to in Russia?
Oh, Minsk.
Minsk. And Paul Rudd's character, Mike, he was just like, don't make me come over to Minsk. And then he like leaves the car and then he knocks back and he's like, actually, if you come to Minsk, here's my card. It's lovely in the summertime. He was like such a good character. But then when Mike came along, I love him anyway, just as an actor, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Like, just so fucking fun and really nice in real life as well. So I really liked that storyline too. I think it was nice in the end that kind of everyone had a wrap up, except for Joey, but Joey didn't want to settle down. So
did you even watch his spin-off show?
yeah, I watched like one or two of the episodes. It wasn't that great. It was like him in LA trying to make it as an actor. And he was living with two housemates or something like that, or there was two housemates around. But no, I really did like Lisa Kudrow's show though. What was that called? I need to look this up. So the actress that played Phoebe, she did a show years later. I need to look this up, and it was actually really good. Have you not seen it, Kendra?
I don't think so.
I think you would like it. It's kind of awkward comedy. She's like being followed around by a camera crew, and it's like about an actress who finished up on a sitcom, and she's basically like washed up, and she's like trying.
Oh, okay.
I think you'd like it if you watched it now. Let me just see what it's called. It's gonna annoy me so much. Why don't I know this filmography? So The Comeback, right? So it was in 2005, 2014. There was a few seasons of it, and it is actually really good. It's obviously similar to her, but like it's her trying to get to awards shows, get magazine covers, but like she's finished the big show she's been on. But that was actually really good, and it's really awkward. Like it's one of those ones where you're like, oh, you know, like it's really good. But obviously, like the biggest breakout star was Jennifer Aniston. Like,
yeah,
holy shit, she's the Maura Higgins. Like she's the whatever it was about her as Rachel, her in the show, she just became like one of the most famous people in the world. Obviously, she married Brad Pitt while on Friends. It's mad. Like I remember when they finished, there's like a documentary about everything, and Jennifer had broken up with Brad Pitt by the end of the series. Courtney Cox had split from David Arquette, and they were basically just saying like we've all been through so much, like we've been through babies, marriages, divorces, and when you look at it that way, it's like Jesus, like they were basically a family.
Yeah, it's so insane. And like to think of, and even in the trailer, actually, Jennifer say in it that she was told that the show would never take off, and like, look how big of a star she is now. It's insane. But one of my favorite scenes of Jennifer, and I think this was when she kind of became my favorite, and it was in season 2. Still, it gets me every time. But it's when Ross is with Julie and they decide to get a cat together. And Jennifer goes on this date with this guy called Mike or something. And she goes on this date and she gets absolutely locked on the date and starts talking about the cat. And she's like, would you get a cat with your girlfriend? Blah, blah. And then she like goes to the guy behind her and she's like, and he's actually on the phone. She's like, sorry, excuse me, can I use your phone? And he's like, I'm talking on the phone. And she's like, yeah, I'll just be a minute, like I'll pay for it myself, blah blah. And she's like, you're being really weird about your phone. And then he's like, right, and he just gives it to her. And she leaves him the funniest voice message ever.
I am over
you. I am over you, and that's what you call closure. And then she flips the phone down and fucks it into the wine bucket. It's the best.
Oh my god, into the wine bucket.
Yeah, it's just the best scene ever. And like I think that was when I realized, I was like, oh my god, she is actually such a funny actress.
But then remember as well, the next day then he listens to it, she like jumps on top of his back, and he was like, you were like, what do you get over, like you were on me at some point? Oh, they are such a cute couple, aren't they, when you think about their story. It reminds me, not the same extent, but like normal people. I get really caught up when a couple like should be together and should be saying things, but they just don't. And that just kept happening all the time with Ross and Rachel. Like they never said how they felt. Or then the time they got back together when they were up in the beach house, but then he didn't read all of the letters. So I saw that comes up in the quiz, 18 pages back and front. The letter that he never read, that was basically taking responsibility for everything. Like, it's mad how the writers went with that, because they were basically putting them back together, but then they didn't. Like, they just spent that one night together and then they were like, no, let's break them up again. So I wondered, did they always know in their mind they were going to have Emma, they were going to end up together? Like, I'd love to know how the writers worked. And like in those situations, in those shows, there's literally like 100 writers. Like,
Yeah,
there's so many people involved. One of my biggest regrets about LA is that we didn't go to Central Park, the Warner Brothers Studios lot.
Oh, I know. We will one day. We will. But wasn't that where the reunion is actually filmed?
Yeah, and that's what I love about the reunion, that they actually go back to the set. Like, do you remember the very last episode as well? You can literally see that they're falling. Like, they're all like, they're, even though they're obviously in character, they're all just like, oh, I'm just like, I feel like it's gonna be like that now. I feel like that's what's gonna be. But before we finish up friend stuff, you have a quiz.
I do have a quiz. So I actually found it on BuzzFeed, and it's like, which Friends character are you? So I'm going to quiz you all, Ryan.
Right.
So are you ready for this?
I am ready.
So you need to pick a color between red, black, blue, purple, yellow, orange, green, pink, or gray.
Dear God. Red. Did you do this already, by the way?
What?
Did you do this already?
No, I haven't. Okay, so pick a movie. Jurassic Park 2, Wet Hot American Summer, My Best Friend's Wedding, Ratatouille, Indiana Jones, Love Actually, The Goonies, or The Godfather.
Oh my God, I'm really caught between Love Actually and My Best Friend's Wedding.
I knew you'd pick this.
Oh, I'll say, ooh, I'm gonna say Love Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now pick a season: winter, spring, summer, or fall.
Summer.
Pick a song: You've Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story. So random. Just a Friend by Biz Markle, We're Going to Be Friends by the White Stripes, Can't Be Friends by Trey Songz. These are so random. My Best Friend by Tim McGraw, With a Little Help from My Friends by Joe Cocker, You're My Best Friend by Queen, My Best Friend's Girl by The Cars, With a Little Help from My Friends by The Beatles.
You've Got a Friend in Me.
Okay. On a Friday night, you can be found on a date, wondering what your ex is doing, working, hanging with your kids, no, drinking with friends at a party, sleeping, dancing at a club, making dinner and watching a movie at home, or playing board games.
I think making dinner and watching a movie at home these days, or working.
Pick a power: invisibility, time travel, the ability to magically write hit songs.
Wow.
You have really good power. Super strength, the ability to fly, teleportation, the ability to read minds, the ability to breathe underwater, or night vision.
Time travel. These are so specific, like.
I know. Pick a bird. These are so random. Pick a bird: a crow, a peacock, a chicken. That reminds me of Kylie Jenner. Is that a chicken? A duck, big bird, a turkey, an eagle, a penguin, or a parrot.
A penguin.
Okay. Pick a fantasy series: Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, Twilight, Game of Thrones, The Hunger Games, or Star Wars.
Harry Potter.
I knew you'd say that.
Absolutely.
Who would you rather date? Don Draper, Olivia Pope, Liz Lemon, Jesse Pinkman, Carrie Bradshaw, Tom Haverford, SpongeBob SquarePants, Daenerys Targaryen, or Rachel?
Don Draper.
So random.
Not that I had many a choice there. Like,
I know, what the fuck? On New Year's Eve, you will be sleeping, watching fireworks, at a small gathering with your closest friends, at a large, fancy, expensive event, watching the ball drop at home, partying in Times Square, dancing at a huge party full of people you don't know, no plans, just going with the flow, or drinking.
no plan, just going with the flow. I never do anything on New Year's Eve. Maybe I should.
You
I
will
feel
this
like
year.
I'd like to be Gunther or something at the end.
No, imagine. Okay, so pick a TV show. Girls, Glee, Breaking Bad, Homeland, How I Met Your Mother, Grey's Anatomy, Law and Order SVU, The Sopranos, or House.
I can't believe they threw in Law and Order SVU. It's one of my favorite shows. But Girls is so good. I'm gonna go Girls.
Okay. You're Monica.
Oh my god, no!
It says, Monica, you're a little uptight, but you're a great cook, a great host, and a great friend.
Would you agree?
Yeah. Although you don't really cook that much, but
Don't cook. I know. I regretted saying the cook part. I think I've cooked. I'm gonna find a friend's quiz for you while we're doing this. I'm gonna. I think I've cooked here like 6 times. I've been living here a month. Like that's not good.
oh my God,
It's
Christ.
bad. Let me just see. I want to do one for you. The ultimate friends quiz for fans. Okay.
See, I was looking up just general friends quizzes, and they're like 100 questions.
This only has. Let me see. Sorry. 30. Okay, we'll fly through them. Okay. Which character has a twin, Rachel or Phoebe?
Phoebe.
Who was Monica's first kiss, Chandler or Ross?
Oh, was it Ross? It might have been Ross. I feel like that was a part of the storyline.
It was Ross. So basically, she was at a house party and was on a bed asleep, and some guy came and kissed her. He thought that he landed on a bed full of coats and kissed a random girl underneath it. But the bag of coats.
Bed full of coats.
How many sisters does Joey have? 6 or 7?
6?
Ooh, it was 7.
7?
How many times has Ross been married? 3 times or 4 times?
It was 3 times, I think.
Correct. What nickname did Monica's dad give her? Tiny Electronica or Little Harmonica?
Little Harmonica.
What is Chandler's dad's job? He's an Elvis impersonator in Vegas. He's a drag queen in Vegas.
Drag queen.
Yeah. What's the name of the dancer Joey lived with? Janice or Janine?
Janine.
Who got their own spin-off show? Chandler or Joey?
Joey.
What's Phoebe's sister's name? Ariel or Ursula?
Ursula.
What is Rachel scared of? Dogs or swings?
Dogs.
No, swings!
Swings, what?
When they bring Emma to the park, she's like fixing her hair. Basically, as a child, she was swinging, got her hair cut in the swing, and then all had to get cut off. So she's literally like freaking out, like terrified. What is Joey's fake name? Mike Hannigan or Ken Adams?
Mike Hannigan.
No, that's Phoebe's husband.
Sorry, Ali, I have not watched Friends in years.
I
You
loved
actually recently
You're doing
watched it.
well. So Ken Adams is the guy that tells the story about backpacking through Europe.
Okay.
You know, what was the name of the millionaire that Monica dated? Pete or John? In fairness, I have watched all of these in the last couple of weeks.
I literally haven't watched it in years. John?
No, Pete. And it's paid by Jon Favreau, the creator of Iron Man.
Oh, yeah, I love him.
What store does Phoebe hate? Pottery Barn or Crate and Barrel?
Pottery Barn.
Who got stuck in a pair of leather pants, Ross or Joey?
Ross.
What an episode. That was
So
amazing.
funny with the baby powder, and he was like, "It's turned into a paste."
Oh my god, the awkwardness of that.
So funny.
What movie did Rachel say is her favorite? Weekend at Bernie's or Dangerous Liaisons?
Oh God, having a clue. Dangerous Liaisons. That's a
Weekend.
guess.
What movie is actually her favorite though? Oh wait, sorry, it's opposite way around. She said it's Dangerous Liaisons, but it's Weekend at Bernie's.
Ah.
What did Phoebe legally change her name to? Regina Phalange or Princess Consuela Banana Hammock?
Princess Consuela Banana.
Who sang the Friends theme song? The
Oh.
Academy or the Rembrandts?
The Rembrandts?
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct. I'm skipping some of them because we're not here for 7 hours. What is Chandler's dad's stage name? Eggs Benedict or Viva La Gagas?
Viva La Gagas?
Yeah.
What a name.
What's the name of Phoebe's most popular song? Smelly Cat or Scaredy Cat?
Smelly Cat. Iconic song.
Ooh, who says the last line of the series? Joey or Chandler?
Oh. Chandler?
Yes. I remember it. It's literally like they say, should we go? Is there anywhere we could go for a coffee? And then Chandler goes, I think I know a place. And then they all go to
Oh,
that.
yeah.
What was the name of Joey's childhood imaginary friend? Maurice or Morris?
Maurice.
Yeah. What did Joey's imaginary friend do for a living? Space Cowboy or Space Ranger?
Space Cowboy.
What was the name of the comic book Ross made when he was young? Science Boy or Game Boy?
Science Boy?
And then I'll just do one more. Who's the first person to appear in the opening credits? Monica or Rachel?
I feel like it's Monica.
Correct. You did well.
I did pretty well considering I haven't properly. It just shows you how many things stick in your mind, though, even from watching it so many years ago.
I know, like I've rewatched the whole thing, but it is funny. You remember lines from it, and I think about all the people that have been in it as well, like Reese Witherspoon, like Brad Pitt obviously came into it. Remember that episode as well? That's a very funny episode where he like hates Rachel.
Yeah.
And he was like an inner fat child. Oh, that was so good. But there was I think David Arquette was in it as well, wasn't he? I think like loads of people were in it over the years. Like it's crazy to think how many people were in it and how many people probably wanted to be in it. Like say when you booked Friends, it was like shit.
Insane, yeah. And like it's so interesting because like they obviously didn't think that it was going to be that much of a success at all. Like they were all so not known whatsoever.
Crazy. That's what makes me think though, like I love when there's a new series, like even Bridgerton, for example, like there were mainly unknown people in that. Like I do like a brand new series that is brand new people and we can just like get to know them, get to meet them. Is there any final episodes you want to mention before we go? Any final fave moments?
Oh yeah, one of my faves, and like it's another Ross one again. Like I just feel like I forgot how much I loved him in it. But you know the one where he goes to get, and it's actually in the last season, I think it was season 10, of when he goes and gets a spray tan. It's just so funny. And then like he's like he walks in the door and everyone's like, oh my god, what happened to you? And he's like, I went to that place your wife suggested, like the tanning salon. He was like, and Chandler's like, was that place the Sun? Like,
that place the Sun. And do you remember you counted 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi? I always think of that now. If anyone ever says you have to count a number, I'm always like, don't like stop. It's like 1, 2, 3. And you know, another Ross one that I love is, you know, the episode where he's bringing the couch up and he's like, pivot. Ross, I think, is maybe our fave character.
I feel like he is, and I think he's very underrated. You know, justice for Ross.
Justice for Ross. But I'm so excited to see it. When is it coming out? When's it actually?
So it's May 26th, HBO Max in the US. Now HBO Max, I think it might be on Sky Atlantic then, because HBO and Sky Atlantic are connected. So
you'll find it. What time is it? The 26th is also my mum's birthday, so there's good omens there. But what time is it on? Like, remember, I'm like the only girl in Ireland that stayed up and watched the entire Oprah Meghan Markle interview. I will stay up for Friends.
I think it's on like 9 p.m. like US time.
Oh, so it's the same again. It's going to be like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Actually, when we were planning stuff for my mum's birthday, my sister found a card online you can order, and it's a picture of Oprah, and it literally says, "Are you old or older?"
Oh my god, I need that in my life.
My sister didn't get it, but I was like, "You get that for me." Like,
you get that for me.
I think of that.
Are you old or are you older? That is so fucking good.
So good. But yeah, go watch the trailer, guys, if you haven't watched it, and we shall see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Live from the red carpet.
The moment you've all been waiting for.
Well, that hit the spot.